Hello, beautiful family, fellow retainers. You know, things don't always go as planned. And I say that because I was making a video earlier today and things don't always go away, so to say. I had a scripted intro planned and memorized. When you retain, it's easy to you can memorize anything. You can memorize pages and like photographic memory, you know what I mean? That's just one of the benefits, one of the many benefits of retaining your vital life force essence, the elan vital, the life force within us that is inherent to all that surrounds us. And of course, it's within us as well. And when we store up and build up this sacred life force essence within us, we have so many resources inwardly, and naturally that's reflected outwardly in the world around us, because that same life force essence is within everything else. Now, I'm trying to give you some hints. That's what this channel's about. And as you can tell, this is not scripted like earlier. That's why it didn't work out well earlier, because it was scripted and it didn't feel right, and I didn't just allow myself to flow naturally as it wanted to express and come out. So that's what I'm doing now, and that's why it's a different vibe. So coming to you live from outside, it's about that time now, the only time there is. But now, speaking of now, it's one of my favorite words, by the way. I really want to say today, now, there is no tomorrow, that there's so many benefits to semen retention. And, you know, there's a couple cons as well. Not going to lie. That's not the vibe. We don't lie over here. You know what I mean? But there's so many benefits. So I want to mention something specifically about semen retention that is on the opposite end of the spectrum, so to speak. One of the cons. And that's the heightened sense of spiritual sensitivity. Now, I mentioned in one of my other videos, the long-term benefits, spiritual benefits of retaining your seed long-term. And I mentioned spiritual sensitivity. Now, once we store up this life force within us inwardly, we have a natural sense of abundance. And that is reflected outwardly. And the form of the heightened sense of spiritual sensitivity. And that includes our sense of taste, sound, sight, smell, and touch. Now, specifically today, I want to talk about the sense of sound. Because I've experienced some inner resistance recently. And that's why I want to share this. Because I haven't seen any other channels talk about this as of yet. So I figured I'd post it and share it and document it so that others along this journey will be able to benefit from it. Because I'm coming from firsthand experience. Now, I live very close to a road in a wooden home, and a tiny wooden house doesn't really have a lot of acoustical control. And I have a lot of Mack trucks driving by, really loud. And when I'm trying to focus on work, sometimes my attention is drawn outwardly to that sound. Because, now this might be difficult to explain for somebody who doesn't retain or isn't familiar with the practice, but the outward sounds can be a hindrance, because naturally you're constantly in a inward serenity, an inward silence, an inward calmness, an inward stillness. And oftentimes the outward vibrations, since you're so sensitive to them, they can somewhat disrupt that inner stillness when your attention is drawn outwardly. And we don't have to be reactive to them. Now, that's kind of what I want to talk about. Some practical perspectives and concepts that have helped me kind of just let go and accept the spiritual sensitivity for what it is, accept where I am right now in the present environment. Surrender the defenses of the senses, the sense of sound, to the presence, in the present, to what is. Because that's all there is. And, of course, some of us may not be where we want to be in our present environment, and that's okay. But understand that it's temporary. And that sense of longing to want to grow and expand and move into a different environment from where you are now, that desire serves a purpose, and it's within you for a reason. So we don't want to repress it or suppress it or neglect it. We want to recognize it, accept it, and ask, why is this within me? It's a completely different desire than a desire that wants to consume something. It's trying to fill a void or trying to include something within itself that implies that it already isn't fulfilled in the moment now. Which we all are, fundamentally speaking. But when we allow this energy to be depleted, whether it be through excessive eating or sexual indulgence, which goes against nature's purpose, propagation, then, that's being a slave to our lower nature, the lower realm, the lower vibrations, the lower regions, the lower self, as it's called, or the ego. It's also called that. And it's for real. That's operating from, the lower energy centers. Survival mode, root chakra, and sacral chakra is pleasures and desires. Solar plexus is wanting to go out in the world and be successful and conquer the world and be somebody in the world. And it's that fire element, that passion, that drive. And that's great. But we want these forces to be in proper balance. And if we're operating primarily from those lower regions, then we're not going to be embodying the higher vibrations. We're not going to be able to enjoy that spiritual sensitivity. Now, I mentioned some of the cons of spiritual sensitivity, but there's also so many blessings to just be out here in nature and to feel connected with everything, to feel it. Deeply is a beautiful thing. And, we won't feel it as much if we're constantly allowing this energy to go out of us. We want it to flourish within us, build up within us. We don't want to deplete this vital life force essence. It's been called many different names. And we can label it however we want. But we want to understand that it's within everything. And the more this energy that is stored up within us, that we embody, the happier we'll be. The more joyous, content, and complete we'll feel. And we'll be that light of inspiration for others. And that's a great reason, a great intent to want to store this up within us. Because naturally, once we do, we're going to be thinking beyond survival mode. We're going to be thinking beyond ourselves and satisfying our base desires. We're going to direct that energy to a higher ideal that serves others.